The AirTag moved at 2:33 a.m. The suitcase wasn't headed home. I'm not jealous of bodies, I'm jealous of itineraries. Bodies tell the truth if you stop staging them. Itineraries decide which truth gets to arrive. At 2:33 a.m., my phone vibrated with the cheerful cruelty only software has perfected. Noah's carry-on in transit. The blue dot eased across the map like a man who believed distance could be polite. It wasn't headed toward our place. It was drifting toward the Arbor Hotel by the river. The one with the glass atrium that pretends midnight is a greenhouse instead of a habit. Kai had texted at 10:48, "The board wants one more, don't wait up." He handles donors the way a bartender handles ice competently, pretending not to mind the cold. I'd filmed the coffee at 7:05 because ritual is cheaper than religion and more punctual, and captioned it here. He reacted with that thumbs up he keeps for hours that plan to rename themselves. I wasn't surprised when he didn't call. I was surprised when the luggage I bought him for Paris remembered it belonged to a plan he hadn't said out loud. I set the phone face down because I was tired of doing bravery with my eyes. The apartment had the posture rooms get when they've rehearsed a story without you. The radiator breathed like an amateur chorus and the hallway practiced being neutral. I boiled water because water doesn't audition. At 3:17, the lock cleared its throat. Kai stepped in with his jacket open and his shoes hooked by two fingers like witnesses too tired to lie. He kissed the air beside my cheek, our administrative truce, and said, "You're up," as if etiquette had mailed me a warning. "The suitcase is at the Arbor," I said. "Either you learned teleportation or the night borrowed the part of you that knows my number." He glanced at the screen. His pupils turned into clocks, the dilation that starts right before he chooses a verb. "Julian's in from Montreal," he said. "The festival put him there. His shower was, look, the studio couch lies about sleep. I walked him back. He crashed. I left." "Did the knight ask to borrow the suitcase?" I asked, careful like men who check ice before stepping on it. He put both palms flat on the table the way our therapist taught us when we needed to give words somewhere to land. "Which question?" he said. "Why or who?" "Why," I said, "because Matt, my emergency adult, kicks me under imaginary tables when I lead with names. If I start with who, the map gets to write our minutes." "Because the part wasn't coming," Kai said. He looked at the patch of wall where the paint keeps wanting to retire without ceremony. "Because donors clapped in the wrong places and wanted to be forgiven with gin. Because Julian had that voice that makes unlocked doors sound like safety. Because the river convinced me distance is a noun you can be kind with." "Did you kiss him?" I asked, breaking Matt's superstition like a boy with a stick and a fence. Kai's mouth made the shape I collect for truth. "In the atrium by the lemon trees once," he said. "It was small and honest. I stopped because I prefer being brave at home." "I hate how sane that sounds," I said, which is the sentence I use when mercy arrives before I find the right shoes. We didn't sleep. We did something more humiliating and useful. We agreed to go to the Arbor at noon when cities pretend to be merciful. The lobby smelled like citrus that had learned to whisper. The woman at the desk had a cathedral's poise. "Welcome back," she said to Kai. The phrase fell between us like a dare. Julian waited in the atrium with a cup of tea that was trying to be an apology. He stood when he saw us, and his face did the thing I respect in men who have learned to pay for their verbs. It didn't pretend surprise. "I was coming to apologize for the river," he said, "and to ask whether I'm hurting your show. Either of them." "You don't get to call it ours," I said, "because cleverness is my superstition and I tithe when I'm anxious. Rehearsal is a room, a kiss is a scene, the hotel is a noun. You don't get to be the verb in our kitchen. To be fair, Julian said, your kitchen has better lighting for honesty. He nodded at Kai without trying to recruit him. He loves you. I like being near that. I'm sorry my job uses the same grammar as desire. I should have disliked him more. I disliked him exactly enough. We left with no theatrics, just the river trying to volunteer for absolution and the AirTag admitting it had learned its lesson. In the kitchen, I moved the chair into the middle of the room because procedures save men when gods won't. Kai smiled like a man relieved to be caught kindly. He came around the table. He paused, always that pause, his most decent habit. I met him halfway. The first kiss was apology without speeches. The second had his fingers under my shirt and my hand at the back of his neck, the spot he keeps for oaths and sleep. We didn't perform a ceremony. We used heat as a system. If I could draw you the rest without getting evicted by an algorithm that prefers virtue louder than accuracy, I would. You can have breath that belonged to both of us, a belt resigning with grace, a palm pinning a wrist as proof we remembered to ask. Of course the world prefers quizzes. 2 nights later, the bar's social account posted a carousel at 1:41 a.m. Hans saw light in the arbor restroom, 4 bodies if you counted reflections. Kai washing his hands, head down, Julian behind him with his tie undone, a stranger at the urinal trying to be a rumor, me in the doorway because whoever posted had tagged me. The caption said boys being brave. Comments did what comments do. I typed nothing. I turned the phone face down. I put the chair in the middle of the kitchen and sat until I could laugh. Kai came home and handed me his phone without instructions. Delete or archive, he said. I don't want new grammar. You don't need me to erase your verbs, I said. He rested his forehead to mine like a paperweight on a better draft. He got the residency email 2 days after that, 7 days in a mountain house with windows the size of apologies. He forwarded the PDF with every map attached, which is how you know a man has learned where courage keeps its receipts. I want to go without disappearing, he wrote. I'll send pages, not alibis. When I get back, ask me what I wrote before what I did. I taped 2 lines under the rubber orange magnet because props still save us when God is off shift. Addresses in the open. A good night here voice note every day. He added a third in his careful mess. If an I can't is coming, it happens where both of us are. Night 1, wind and a sentence I decided to believe. Today the table forgave me. Night 3, nothing and my thumb was the worst teenager in the world. I moved the chair instead. At 8:12 he called with a voice that made the kettle think there might be a God. I almost kissed a window, he said. It didn't know your name. I closed the blinds. He came back with a suitcase that didn't slam and 2 pages he treated like animals. They're not good, he said. They're mine, I said, and we performed our small religion. Paper, kettle, a room that knows it isn't a lobby. He slid his hands under my shirt from behind, slower than contrition, faster than nostalgia. Here, he said into the bend of my neck, which is the only word left that has never demanded witnesses. We tried boring. We failed gracefully. We tried again. The city kept offering rooms that wanted to pronounce us. Some deserved us. Most did not. Julian appeared at the back of the house with his arms crossed like a man paying the bill he owes himself. After curtain, he found us and kissed both our cheeks with the invented piety theater loves. You kiss truer when you remember who's breathing, he said. Stand where you can hear each other. It was a note about the show. We let it be an instruction for the rest. I wish I could say the AirTag learned manners after that. It didn't. It sent me one more blue confession at 12:19 a.m., carry on leaving home. The dot moved 4 blocks south, then paused outside an address we don't own. I texted nothing. I moved the chair. Kai came home at 1 with a sentence ready. I walked Julian to the door. He kissed the hallway good night. I kissed the elevator good decision. Do you want to hate me now or later? I prefer now. I like the way you come back from it. I'm tired of coming back, I said. I want to stay. He touched my jaw with 2 fingers, the intimacy director's sacrament repurposed for domestic faith, and for once the gesture belonged exactly where it landed. We went to bed without performing an essay on forgiveness. We used our mouths the way men do who still prefer heat to cleverness. The room did not applaud. It didn't need to. Weeks alter even honest bruises. The AirTag keeps its little talent for gossip. The bar keeps its tags. The city keeps its rooms that want to learn your names and write your captions. I keep my kettle and the chair we move when words try to riot. If another night offers me a blue dot bending where it shouldn't, a tag with the kind of honesty nobody asked for, a hand on a back that isn't mine easing a man toward a door that refuses to be neutral, I hope I remember the handful of humiliating, useful acts that got us through this one. Put water on. Ask why before who. Hold the breath before contact and let it finish being the scene. Then wait for the lock's small throat clearing like it's the first note in a song we can still tune to. We didn't get away with anything. We stayed. We are still staying. When Kai says here, my body has stopped auditioning for suspicion. The suitcase can keep its opinions. The river can keep its absolutions. The atrium can keep its glass. We'll keep being the address. Or, on the nights we can't, we'll be the map that admits its misprints and still shows the way back. Past the lobby that thinks it's a verb, past the elevator with the red dot that loves its own memory, into a kitchen where a chair knows what it's for, a kettle sings at 7:05, and 2 hands that have done worse learn again how to touch without asking the night to edit.